Hello and welcome back to Shrink Happens. Today is the second episode of our series on how to find your person. And today we're going to examine a very common yet very toxic belief that many women have, that all men are trash and there are no good men around. We're going to talk about all the secondary gains that this belief gives you. And hopefully we will reframe that belief by the end of the video and you will walk in the dating life and your love life more confident and with a healthier mindset. But before we begin, let me just say a few words about this channel. Shrink Happens is a passion project of two friends, me. If you don't know me, my name is Christina and I am a Gestalt therapist, practicing therapist, and by my friend Anastasia, who is a very talented designer and a marketing professional. If you like her beautiful thumbnails that you see on the channel, please give us a like. Anastasia and I will be very happy. And do subscribe, please, so you don't miss our wonderful episodes. Now let's begin. I think we can all agree that modern dating culture is quite difficult. I hear that all the time, that it's very difficult for women to find their person. First, I want to address this with empathy. It is truly not easy. I don't want to sit here and gaslight you into thinking that, it's peachy out there and all men are amazing and there's just something wrong with you and that's the only reason why you are not able to find your person. If you watching this video now and you have this belief that all men are trash or I'm unlucky or just there's something wrong with me, then the first question that you should be starting this, let's call it investigation, is who was the first trashy man in your life? One very important thing to know, that a person is a sum of their beliefs about themselves, others, and the world. And often, that system of beliefs is formed during a childhood. I think it's not a secret that not every woman had a perfect childhood with a perfect, loving, and caring father. I, myself, am not an exception. My father left when I was 3 or 4, and I did not have a father figure growing up. I did have a grandpa who kind of was my father figure. He was a great man, and I'm very lucky that I had some kind of substitute for my father, but not every woman is that lucky. Perhaps you did have a father, but he was cold, distant, or even abusive, and that was the event, this starting point that formed your belief. We don't choose the families that we are born into, but we can heal and we can move on. And this is the number one thing that you should do if you do catch yourself having a belief that all men are bad, trash, unworthy, and there's just not a chance for you to find a good guy. This is a very dangerous belief because number one, it's not true. And second of all, if that is running on the background of your mind without you realizing this, what kind of guy do you think you will meet? People, most of the time, make very unconscious choices. They don't themselves realize why they choose a certain person, why they choose to form a relationship with them. Something triggers them, something feels familiar. We get in a relationship that often, in one way or another, repeat the patterns that we struggled with in our childhood. That is why it's very important that you seek therapy, seek healing, you reframe your belief, and you go out there in the world without it. And then you have a chance to form a healthy, different relationship. Second thing that we're going to talk about today is the secondary gains. I mentioned that at the beginning. It is a very interesting psychological term. Secondary gain is a positive, completely unconscious outcome that a person gets from a problem or a negative belief. Let me give you an example with this all men are trash mindset. So for example, you do believe that there are no good men around and there's just literally no point of trying because you did try a few times and it resulted in nothing or a disaster, and now you just decided that that's the reality and that's it. And you might think, what can I possibly benefit from this belief? But what you can benefit is it can serve as your protection from future pain and disappointment. What you do is that you create this emotional buffer zone. You go in this experience already kind of knowing that you're gonna get disappointed. So then in the end, you can say, I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen, all men are trash. Because here's the thing, it's much easier to handle than handle I was vulnerable again and I got hurt again. What is the alternative of this? Is to be open to the possibility of getting hurt again. If you do want to find that person and you do want to potentially get out there and try again, you'll have to accept the risk. You'll have to accept getting to know someone and them not liking you back, or them not being in the position in their life where they want to pursue this relationship. You will basically have to risk being vulnerable again and getting hurt again. So as you can imagine, it's much easier to just slap a label on it and say, what's the point of trying? All men are trash anyway. Because if you do get hurt, at least you can rationalize it instead of facing the pain that you experienced because something that you were hoping for did not work out. Secondary gain that you receive from believing that all men are trash is relieving yourself from responsibility. That is one of my favorite ones. It's very easy to just think that the problem is with someone else and not you. When you have that belief, you don't need to analyze your own behavior, your patterns, your role in this relationship. If you find yourself in the cycle of wrong guys, try to ask yourself, what is my responsibility in all this? Or if you were in a relationship and it did not work out, if you believe that this person mistreated you, I'm not saying he didn't do that, but then the question you should be asking yourself is, why did I allow myself to be in all of this for such a long time? If, for example, you are on dating apps and all the men that you seem to be meeting or have some kind of interaction with are men-children, who are not ready to commit, who waste your time, who breadcrumb you, and somehow you are in this dynamic, why? Because nobody is forcing you to be in this. Nobody is forcing you to be in this situationship with some guy who sometimes they even tell you in your face that, listen, this is all I can give you. And by agreeing to this game and playing by his own rules, you are robbing yourself of a precious time and a chance of meeting someone who is actually going to put an effort. And it's very important to recognize your own responsibility in this whole situation. I often hear that it's impossible to meet good men on dating apps. To be honest, I agree. And I do know couples who met on dating apps, and some of them are happily married now. The chance is not very big because there's a very specific nature of people, of men and women actually, that you can meet there. And most of them are actually quite avoidant. They want intimacy. They have the need for love and for connection. But because they don't know how to process that in a healthy way, they are there to get some kind of illusion of something going on, of some kind of fantasy, of some kind of quick fast food relationship or sex. And that's all that they can do. And if you telling yourself that this is not what I want a healthy partnership, I want someone who will love me and show up for me and be in relationship with me, but you do find yourself on these apps interacting mostly with these kind of men, then do admit that maybe you're doing something wrong. It's your responsibility to try to find another way to meet people. What are they? Let's name a few. You can go to a gym. You can go to a cooking class. You can go to a running club or, I don't know, skiing club, depends on where you live. It's a much healthier environment to meet not only men, but just people in general, because the apps are very artificial, in my opinion, and it is much nicer to have this kind of slow burn situation with someone where you get to know someone, you give them the space to show who they really are, to see how they interact with other people. That's why it's actually, I think, number one place where people meet is also a workplace, because you actually get to know the real person over a long period of time. There's a lot more magic in this, in my opinion. Just try to find other events, be a bit more proactive. And of course, as I'm saying this, you might feel resistance and think, I don't want to do that, or like, I don't have time for this, or whatever excuse that you have. But actually, what you're feeling is fear, because if you do that, there's a lot of risk involved of, being out there in public, talking to people, meeting men, having a conversation, potentially being rejected. When you are on the app swiping all the time, the stakes are much lower. The rejection doesn't feel as bad. But just don't try to fake it. If you have no interest in, I don't know, let's say crypto, don't go to like a cryptocurrency or a crypto meetup, some kind of IT event, because there are going to be a lot of men, but if that's not your thing, it's not going to feel right. Go somewhere where even if you don't meet anybody, you will still enjoy it. And my advice is give it a few times, because it's often that we go to a new place and everything just feels unfamiliar and everybody's new and we feel uncomfortable and we just quit. Give it a few times. Go to the same event, go to the same exercise place or sport club, whatever. Go a few times. Try to feel a bit more comfortable. Try to have few conversations with people without an agenda, with a pure intention of seeing what's up, having a good time, and getting to know people, having a connection. Start here. As opposed to sitting on a dating app and repeating the same cycle of matching the same guy just with a different face. I will give you a beautiful example from statistics world. We cannot say that all men are trash if you only try one source, such as a dating app. It would be the same thing as taking a cup, coming to an ocean, getting water, looking inside and seeing no fish, and then concluding that because I took that sample and there are no fish in there, the ocean doesn't have fish. Do you see what I mean? If you are stuck doing the same thing that doesn't give you the result that you want, try to expand your sample, so to speak. Try different places and see what happens. It's the first thing that people criticize when they read a research, is that your sample wasn't adequate enough. There are not enough people, the age group is, a bit weird, or it's just like basically the whole data is skewed. And in order for you not to have that, you need to have as bigger a sample, as diverse sample as possible. It is in your best interest to create as many sources of people as possible, because you never know where you can find your person. Secondary gain number 3. When you believe that all men are trash, it creates a sense of predictability and control. We all know that human psyche is very uncomfortable with unfamiliar and unpredictable. When you have a very firm belief about something, that gives you an illusion of control. Disappointment becomes expected, therefore it's much easier to handle. But the alternative of that belief is to accept that people and relationship are complex, and there's no 100% guarantee that something is gonna work out. Go, if you haven't, go and watch the first video in this playlist where we talk about why it's important to build your own life first, to have things in your life that you're excited about, to have a job, hobby, creativity in your life that you enjoy, that give you the sense of identity and purpose. Because relationship should not be the key to your happiness, because you never know what life can throw at you. Your number one focus should be building your own life. Our lesson here for many of us in this lifetime, is what I personally believe, is learning. I understand it's a super cliche thing, but learning to be happy on our own. Not to have expectations that there's some kind of knight in shining armor that's gonna come into your life and save you. Save yourself first. If you're honest with yourself that your life is a mess right now, and it would be amazing if you just happen to meet this guy and fall in love, and then you can forget about all of your problems, and it would be so amazing. Then try to reverse the situation and think, how would you feel if there would be a guy sitting there doing absolutely nothing to enrich their life, having nothing but problems, hoping that you would come in and solve all of his problems? Probably you wouldn't be that eager to do that. I mean, to clarify, I don't think that we all should be perfect and every single area of our life should be perfect, and then and only then we deserve love. That's not what I mean. But let's be honest, if you really understand that there's so many things that you lack, and number one being meaning and purpose, and you can substitute this for love, and my experience and inexperienced people that I work with, it's never the answer, and it never works out. You have to build the foundation of your life first, and then invite a person to share your life with. Not to expect that someone is gonna come in and solve all of your problems. You have to be the one to solve your problems. Be an adult, and then you can meet another adult. If you want to be a little girl that wants to be saved, then who do you think you're gonna meet? You're not gonna meet an adult. You're gonna meet a person that is gonna handle all of your problems. But what about the price that you're gonna pay? It does have consequences, this mindset, and very sad ones. I would rather you not have it. Be an independent person first. Last secondary gain for today: if you believe that all men are trash, it gives you a sense of belonging and being a part of a community, a victim community. Again, I am not trying to devalue your experience, and I'm not talking about some horrific things that happen to people. I'm talking about this guy who ghosted you, or the guy that was breadcrumbing you for months and then finally asked you out and then disappeared again, and now you get to complain to your girlfriends about this situation. It feels amazing to have all this sympathy, validation, and support. You all can be victims together. It's like the club of being mistreated by men. And this narrative you see all the time online, and to be honest with you, it is really scary. Again, I'm not defending men, especially those who do horrible things to women. I just think the whole gender wars that are going on are not serving anybody. In fact, they distance people from each other. Both genders can learn how to treat the other one better. Men and women are different. Our energy is different. It's like yin and yang. By coming together, we have an even fuller, bigger energy. I am prepared to receive hate in the comments, but I'm gonna say it. Women and men are nothing without each other. I mean, I understand you can say, well, but you are speaking so much about being happy on your own. Yes, you have to live your life with the mindset of, I'm gonna live it the way I would live it if I knew I would never meet anybody. I hope my grammar is correct. I apologize. English is not my first language. You cannot build your life hoping that someday the prince is gonna come in and save you. But at the same time, when you do meet a right partner, it is truly magical because two of you are coming in this kind of duo together where you can love each other and support each other to make even bigger, greater things with your life. You can, in my opinion, children are a manifestation of that love that happens, that magic of life, creation of life that happens between these two people. In modern world, there's so much of like, oh, men are this and women are that, and I wish we would understand the differences that we have and come in with a desire of loving the other person and appreciating them, being number one cheerleader for one another. You may be coming from an unfortunate experience with men that perhaps started early in your childhood where you could not do anything with it. We don't choose the families that we're born in, and as children we can't protect ourselves or our loved ones from destructive people that are around. But accepting this as a life lessons, a source of wisdom, and healing ourselves, we can find a path of finding a healthier relationships, healthier life. And I do know that there are amazing men out there, but you can only meet them if you do the healing first. You work on your own issues and you go in dating and find love with a much healthier mindset, with acceptance of the fact that people are people and it might take a few trials and you will have to be vulnerable and you will have to first put the goal of getting to know someone and finding the connection, not to find someone who will fix all of your problems or who will confirm your belief that all men are bad and there are no decent men around. I think this belief is incredibly destructive and toxic and it should be changed. I hope our conversation today helped you a little bit to look at it from a different perspective. If you have any questions connected to therapy or healing, psychology, please drop your comments below. I will answer all of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.